person on there will, where the event is at, more information on them, the reason why the event is going on. And to put this information on one sign, the lettering would literally be this small, and it's impossible to read. I actually have a sample that I took to the town board. It's like, this is what you want me to do. You can't even read it. It's actually more distracting because you're like trying to read it while you're driving by. So by playing the message, that's my basic, what I was asking for. And when I first went to the town board, or when I first called Mark Smith, I asked him specifically, I says, Mark, all I'm asking for is let me play the fundraising events, and that's it. I'll do my regular advertising the way you want me to. It's just these fundraising events, we need to do this video. It's virtually impossible to get the message across effectively if you don't do the video. And he just blatantly said no. And then the process of legally going through the zoning board, the zoning board of appeals, is the application. You got to pay $180. You go to the town board, and you're the town building inspection department, fill out an application. The building inspector sometimes calls the attorney, what type of permit is this going to be for, and then they send the application in, and they send you a date of when the hearing is. And we received the date of the hearing. I did a real nice presentation on these signs, nice PowerPoint presentation. My wife and I get there, and the first thing out of the attorney says is that there's no way this sign can get approved because it's considered a use permit. So no matter what the town board decides, legally it's impossible to get approved for this sign. When I looked at the application later, the building inspector circled area variance. Before we got to the town board meeting, they called it a use variance, which the sign does not even apply under a use variance. Is considered an area variance. And to prove that, Walgreens in the city of Lockport, which has different zoning laws, but the variance process is all about the same, and they got approved under their LED sign under an area variance, just to prove the point. So that was the first thing they did that really disturbed me. And then the second thing was we asked for postponement because we didn't understand the legal process and what we had to go through. We got it in writing, thank God, to postpone it indefinitely till I got an attorney, figured out what we were going to do on this, and then a month after the previous hearing, they ended up having a hearing without me being there and voted it down, even though I had a postponement in writing. So that's the number two thing they did. So right away they're pulling their legal clout of what they can do as a local government. They can basically do whatever they want. They can care less about the people. It's their opinion, and that's it. Did you know a lot of this happened?
Yeah, I went twice to your meetings.
Yeah, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000 to get an attorney to go back to take them back to the zoning board of appeals meeting and refile for the area variance where it should be. Everything was going pretty smooth, and then the day before the hearing, the town attorney calls my attorney and says, "Oh, this is going to have to be a rehearing on the original use variance," where if it was going to be that, they shouldn't even took the application to begin with. So now they've taken 180 times 2 from me, changed the application right from and won't even refund the money back to me. So they're just going through all these legal actions that cost me literally thousands of dollars. I think we're up to how much is the bill, honey? Probably $18,000, and it didn't even get to court yet. So it's just.
I'm sure one of their tactics is to wear you out financially, and hoping you'll give up.
Well, they have an unlimited. I made a comment the other day at town board meeting. It's like kids going into a candy store with a pocket full of money. Mm-hmm. They're acting like kids, and what's in their pockets is a unlimited amount of taxpayers' money. They're literally spending taxpayers' money to stop me from helping people. It's not about the sign; it's about helping people. But they're trying to push it off of the sign, more of my business, more of this, glitzy glamour of Las Vegas. It's going to take a lot more than a sign to make Lockport look like Las Vegas.
If you were being selfish, you would only have business-related material on there. It's unselfish to put these events on that people need help.
Exactly.
That should be a feather in your cap, not a mark against you. I think we need fewer and fewer professional politicians in the air, and we need some really people that come from the common people right on up, that know what it is to struggle every day, and that's the type of person I think you'd be as a town supervisor. You'd show that compassion for other people, and you fully realize that you have control over other people's money, and you would do it prudently.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the reasons why I purchased the sign was for marketing, advertising. It's one of the biggest expenses. Yeah, word of mouth works good, newspaper okay, direct mail is very expensive. They say if you're doing good, you get 5 people out of 100 letters to reply to your direct mail. So what I noticed with advertising in front of my business is that for about 15 years I had a car with a sign bolted to the top of it. It was one of them portable signs with letters you stick up, and that car with that sign worked better than any type of marketing I could imagine. But to change the letters on that sign was like about a 2-hour process. By the time you go out there, take the letters off the sign. Well, this is in the summertime, so in the wintertime when it's cold out, it's freezing. The letters sometimes will crack, breaking. They'll break, taking them out of the sign. Then you bring the letters inside. You put them back where they belong. You go through your whole sentence, what you want to put on the sign, make sure it fits, and go back out there, stick them back up. It was just a process that was literally ridiculous, and we would only change a sign maybe once a month or maybe once every 2 weeks. But it worked good. But it wasn't very pretty either. And I always liked these signs when I've seen them above highway overpasses and so on and so forth, and was always inquiring about them. But one thing that I was concerned about was the safety of them, because they move, they play video, they can flash, they can do everything your television can do. So I looked at it one year and I said, no, let's not do it, because it was expensive too. But even when they were more money way back when, you figured out how much your monthly expenses were to pay for that sign, it was still way cheaper than newspaper, direct mail, any other type of advertising you can imagine. So that was one of the main reasons why I was always going back to that sign. Maybe I should get this. Maybe I should take the gamble and get this sign. And so when we finally say, okay, I think we can afford it, let's think about getting this. And I talked to probably 10 different companies on where these signs came from. And I asked, I says, I'm really concerned with the safety. I don't want to be putting a sign up that's going to cause an accident in front of my business. He goes, Dave, I'm going to send you these documents. And one of the first documents they sent me was a survey done by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association. The federal government actually spent $1 million researching the safety of these signs to find out, to make sure that accidents don't occur, they're not distracting, and basically a safety issue. And the document was probably about a little over a quarter inch thick, and I read through the whole thing. The results were totally inconclusive. They said that these signs are no more distracting than looking at your speedometer driving down the road. To prove it, that's why these signs are being used above highway overpasses. They use them on the side of the roads. The government uses them all over the place. And they are the wave of the future. Granted, you don't want these things all over the place. There has to be regulation on these signs, brightness controls, how they operate, how often they can actually play a video, the type of video they can play. A video playing on a sign is actually much more smoother. It's not a abrupt change or flashing motion. So there is a type of way to regulate these signs, and this is something the town isn't even considering. Even though one of the first meetings I had with the town, I brought them the document. I said, here's a survey that the federal government did on these signs. They didn't even want to look at it. They didn't even want to even come close. I brought it up to them probably five different times, and they didn't even want to look at this document. because they didn't care. They didn't care what it said. It was all about what they said. And they keep on saying, oh, it's distracting, it's dangerous. But they're not. Sign did help my business quite a bit. But I was really amazed on how many people didn't see it. My wife and I would attend some events, and we would meet people, and we'd tell them what we did, and, oh, where's your business at? Oh, it's